A new graphics engine has finally been announced for FM25. Is it gonna be the best thing ever? Or is it gonna be the beginning of the end? Let's dive right into it. Let's start by looking what a graphics engine actually even is. A graphics or game engine is a software foundation that developers can use to build their game on. It's a giant library of functions and logic that are the core components of any game that developers then can use to create their own unique games. Now, to help me explain this more clearly, meet Bob, who wants to create his own miniature house. He decides he wants to do it all by himself, so he grabs a giant piece of clay and starts molding it into his tiny little house. Now he builds multiple iterations of this clay house, and it's pretty good. But eventually he notices that the clay isn't strong enough to build another floor, or maybe it's not colorful enough. He just can't do everything he would want to do with his homemade clay. So he decides to start all over again, but this time he buys a pre-made set of building blocks. Legos. And these well-made little components help him to make everything that he ever dreamed of. And this is pretty much what's been happening with Football Manager. SI has been developing the game in their own engine for decades, but for FM25 they've decided to go with the pre-made functions of a new engine. So what engine did they go with? Unity, one of the best known engines in the gaming world. In recent research, it's been estimated that Unity is being used in 13.2% of the biggest games on Steam, making it the second largest engine out there. Examples of these games are Cuphead, Hearthstone, and another one of the biggest simulation games out there, City Skylines. Now that we know what an engine is, let's look at the possibly good and the bad things of switching to a new engine, starting with the positives. One of the biggest weaknesses of Football Manager has been in its visual department, especially compared to other football games like FIFA. But with the new engine, they can finally make some improvements on how the game looks, both with the base visuals as well as the animations. Just look at how amazing a game like City Skylines can look, another Unity-based simulation game that was released in 2015. But the visual improvements don't have to stay at the matchday experience. The new engine can also create opportunities for a new and improved UI. Football Manager's menu design and general UI have been lacking, and a lot of players have to resort to player-made skins to fix it up a bit. But with the new engine, they can rebuild their UI from the ground up in a more streamlined, efficient manner, which is something that they mentioned themselves. But the improvements will not only be visual differences. Using the solid building blocks of a new engine also means using a streamlined process for rendering the graphics, which means that we'll probably see an improvement on the performance as well. We could even speculate on some different changes that we might see. Modding Football Manager has up until now been limited to purely visual changes and custom databases. But with the new engine, this might change, as Unity has a well-supported modding community in a lot of different games, City Skylines being another perfect example of this. And maybe we can dream even bigger. SI has stated themselves that they felt limited by their old engine, but with the new engine, who knows what they could be developing? A first-person view from the touchline? Maybe. Or maybe the most ambitious thing of all, tapping that like button. So now that we're all excited and raving, let's talk about how it all can go wrong. We've seen how a new engine gives developers new building blocks to build with, but these new components are, well, new. They'll work differently, they have to be used differently, and it'll take some getting used to. Who knows if the developers can get a good grip on it when they're developing this first game. Furthermore, they're gonna have to completely rebuild large parts of the game, which creates opportunities for a whole new set of bugs to enter the scene. We're gonna have to put a lot of faith into the developers at SI to get it right. Not only that, with all the improvements with the new engine, the minimum requirements to run the game will increase, so some people with older laptops will have to improve their gear to even play the game. And finally, and most importantly, a new engine doesn't guarantee huge improvements. Just because developers have new building blocks to build with, doesn't automatically create a new amazing game. A great example of this is Mass Effect Andromeda, a game where a new engine almost tanked the entire game because it didn't suit what the developers wanted. And to bring it back to Football Manager, we just have to look at our Unity example City Skylines, where one of their sports venues doesn't look that much better than the current Football Manager stadiums. Now, I'm not saying that this is the best a stadium can look in Unity, it certainly can look better, but there's no guarantee that Football Manager will actually look better. With all that being said, we're left with the question, what will the new engine look like? I'm choosing to be optimistic, having faith in the developers at SI to create the best game in years. But what do you think? Let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Check out my latest video for some more Football Manager content while we're waiting for that new engine to surprise us. I'll see you on the next video.